Chapter 1 Ordinary. I know I'm not an ordinary 10-year-old kid. I mean, sure, I do ordinary things. I eat ice cream, I ride my bike, I play ball, I have an Xbox. Stuff like that makes me ordinary, I guess. And I feel ordinary inside. But I know ordinary kids don't make other ordinary kids run away screaming in the playgrounds. I know ordinary kids don't get stared at wherever they go. If I found a magic lamp and I could have one wish, I would wish that I had a normal face that no one ever noticed at all. I would wish that I could walk down the street without people seeing me, then doing that look away thing. Here's what I think. The only reason I'm not ordinary is that no one else sees me that way. But I'm kind of used to how I look by now. I know how to pretend I don't see faces people make. We have all gotten pretty good at that sort of thing. Me, mom, and dad, Via. Actually, I take that back. Via is not so good at it. She can get really annoyed when people do something rude. Like, for instance, one time in the playground, some older kids made some noise. I don't even know what the noises were exactly because I didn't hear them myself, but Via heard and she just started yelling at the kids. That's the way she is. I'm not that way. Via doesn't see me as ordinary. She says she does, but if I were ordinary, she wouldn't feel like she needs to protect me as much. And mom and dad don't see me as ordinary either. They see me as extraordinary. I think the only person in the world who realizes how ordinary I am is me. My name is August, by the way. I don't describe the way I look. Like, whatever you're thinking, it's probably worse.
Chapter is chapter 2, why I didn't go to school. Next week, I start fifth grade since I never been to a real school before. I am pretty much totally and completely petrified. People think I haven't gone to school because of the way I looked, but it's not that. It's because of all the surgeries I have had. 27 since I was born. The bigger ones happened before I was even 4 years old, so I don't remember those. But I've had two or three surgeries every year since then. Some big, some small, and because I'm little for my age. And I have some other medical mysteries that doctor never really figure out. I used to get sick a lot. That's why my parents decided it was better if I didn't go to school. I'm much stronger now, though. The last surgery I had was 8 months ago, and I probably won't have to have any more for another couple of years. Mom homeschools me. She, she used to be a children's book illustrator. She draws really great fairies and mermaids. Her boy stuff isn't so hard, though. She once tried to draw me a Darth Vader, but ended up looking some weird mushroom-shaped robot. I haven't seen her draw anything in a long time. I think she's too busy taking care of me and Veer. I can say I always wanted to go to school because that wouldn't be exactly true. What I wanted was go to school, but only if I could be like every other kid going to school, have lots of friends and hang out after school and stuff like that. I have a few really good friends now. Christopher is my best friend, followed by Jackery and Alex. We've known each other since we were babies, and since they always know me the way I am. They used to me when we were little. We used to have play dates all the time. But then Christopher moved to Bridgeport in Connecticut, that's of Manhattan, and Jachary and Alex start going to school. It's funny, even though Christopher's the one who moved far away, I still see him more than I see Jachary and Alex. They have all these new friends now. If we bump into each other on the street, they're still nice to me though. They always say hello. I have other friends too, but not as good as Christopher and Jack and Alex were. For instance, Jack and Alex always invited me to their birthday parties when we were little, but Joe and Eamon and Gabe.
3. How I came to life. I like when my mom tells this story because it makes me laugh so much. It's not funny in the way a joke is funny, but when mom tells it, Via and I just start cracking up. So when I was in my mom's stomach, no one had any idea I would come out looking the way I look. Mom had Via 4 years before, and there had been such a walk in the park, mom's expression, that there was no reason to run any special tests. About 2 months before I was born, the doctor realized there was something wrong with my face, but they didn't think it was going to be bad. They told mom and dad I have cleft palate and some other stuff going on. They call it small anomalies. There were 2 nurses in the delivery room the night I was born. One was very nice and mom said did not seem at all nice or sweet. She had very big arms and here comes the funny part. She kept farting like she bring mom some ice chips and then fart. She would check mom's blood pressure and fart. Mom says it was unbelievable because the nurse never even said excuse me. Meanwhile, mom's regular doctor wasn't on duty that night, so mom got stuck with this cranky kid doctor. She and dad nicknamed Doggy after some old TV show or something. But mom said that even though everyone in the room was kind of grumpy, dad kept making her laugh all night long. When I came out mom's stomach, she said the whole room got very quiet. Mom didn't even get a chance to look at me because the night nurse immediately rushed me out of the room. Dad was in such a hurry to follow her that he dropped the video camera, which broke into a million pieces, and then mom got very upset and tried to get out back to see where they were going. But the fighting nurse put her very big arms on mom to keep her down in the back. They were practically fighting because mom was hysterical and the fighting nurse was yelling at her to stay calm, and then they both started screaming for the doctor. But guess what? He had fainted right on the floor. So when the fighting nurse saw that he had fainted, she started pushing him with her foot to get him to wake up, yelling at him the whole time. What kind of doctor are you? What kind of doctor are you? Get up, get up. And then all of a sudden she let out the biggest, loudest, smelliest fart in the history of farts. Mom did the fart that finally woke the doctor. Anyway, when mom tells this story, she acts out all the parts, including the farting noise, and it's so funny. Mom says that the farting nurse turned out to be a very nice woman. She stayed with mom the whole time, didn't leave her side even after dad came back and the doctor told them how sick I was. Mom remembers exactly what the nurse whispered in her ear when the doctor told her I probably wouldn't live through the night. Everyone born of God overcomes. And the next day, after I had lived through the night, it was that nurse who held mom's hand when they brought her to meet me for the first time. Mom said that by then they had told her all about me. She had been preparing herself for the seeing of me, but she says that when she looked down into my tiny, must-have face for the first time, all she could see was how beautiful my eyes were. Mom is beautiful, by the way, and Dad is handsome. Via is pretty, in case you were wondering.
Chapter 4 Christopher House. I was really bummed when Christopher moved away 3 years ago. We were both around 7 then. We used to spend hours playing with our Star Wars action figures and dealing with our lightsabers. I miss that. Last spring, we drove over to Christopher's house in Bridgeport. Me and Christopher were looking for snacks in the kitchen, and I heard Mom talking to Lisa, Christopher's mom, about my going to school in the fall. I had never, ever heard her mention school before. What are you talking about? I said. Mom looked surprised, like she had a need for me. She hadn't meant for me to hear that. You should tell him what you've been thinking, Isabel, Dad said. He was on the other side of the living room talking to Christopher Dad. We should talk about this later, said Mom. No, I want to know what you're talking about, I answered. Don't you think you're ready for school, Augie? Said Mom. No, I said. I don't either, said Dad. Then that's it. Case closed, I said, suckering, and I sat in her lap like I was a baby. I just think you need to learn more than I can teach you, Mom said. I mean, come on, Augie. You know how bad I am at fractions. What school? I said. I already feel like crying. Beecher Prep, right by us. Wow, that's a great school, Augie, said Lisa, patting my knee. Why not Via School? I said. That's too big, Mom answered. I don't think that would be a good fit for you. I don't want to, I admit. I made my voice sound a little babyish. You don't have to do anything you don't want to, Dad said, coming over and lifting me out of Mom's lap. He carried me to sit on his lap on the other side of the sofa. We won't make you do anything you don't want to. But it would be good for him, Nate, said Mom. Not if he doesn't want to, answered Dad, looking at me. Not if he's not ready. I saw Mom looking at Lisa, who reached over and squeezed her hand. You guys will figure it out, she said to Mom. You always have. Let's just talk about it later, said Mom. I could tell she and Dad were going to get in a fight about it. I want Dad to win the fight, though a part of me knew Mom was right. And the truth is, she really was terrible at faction.
Chapter number 5. Driving. It was a long drive home. I fell asleep in the backseat like I always do, my head on Via's lap like she was my pillow. A towel grabbed around the seat belt so I wouldn't drool all over her. Via fell asleep too, and Mom and Dad talked quietly about grown-up things I didn't care about. I don't know how long I was sleeping, but when I woke up, there was a full moon outside the car window. It was a purple night, and we were driving on a highway full of cars, and then I heard Mom and Dad talking about me. We can't keep protecting him, Mom whispered to Dad, who was driving. We can't just pretend he's going to wake up tomorrow, and this isn't going to be his reality, because it is, Nate, and we have to have him learn to deal with this. We can't just keep avoiding situations that. So sending him off to middle school like a lamb to slaughter. Dad answered angrily, but he didn't even finish his sentence because he saw me in the mirror looking up. What is a lamb to slaughter? I asked sleepily. Go back to sleep, Augie. Dad said softly. Everyone will stare at me at school, I said, suddenly crying. Honey, Mom said. She turned around in the front seat and put her hand on my hand. You know, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. But we spoke to the principal there and told him about you, and he really wants to meet you. What did you tell him about me? How funny you are, and how kind and smart. When I told him you read Dragon Rider when you were 6, he was like, wow, I have to meet this kid. Did you tell him anything else? I said. Mom smiled at me. Her smile kind of hung me. I told him about all your surgery and how brave you are, she said. So we know what I look like? I asked. Well, we brought pictures from last summer in Montauk, Dad said. We showed him pictures of the whole family, and that great shot of you holding that flower on the boat. You were there too. I have to admit I felt a little disappointed that he was a part of this. We both talked to him, yes. Dad says he is a really nice man. You would like him, Mom added. Suddenly I felt it like they were on the same side. Wait, so when did you meet him? I said. He took us on a tour of the school last year, said Mom. Last year? I said. So you have been thinking about this for a whole year and you didn't tell me. You didn't know you would even get in, Augie, answered Mom. It was a very hard school to get into. There is a whole admission process. I didn't see the point in telling you and having you get all worked up about it unnecessarily. But you are right, Augie. We should have told you when we found out last month that you got in, said Dad. In hindsight, sighed Mom. Yes, I guess. Did that lady who came to the house that time have something to do with this? I said. The one that gave me that test. Yes, actually, said Mom, looked guilty. Yes. You told me it was an IQ test, I said. I know, well, that was a while. She answered, it was a test you need to take to get into the school. You did very well on it, by the way. So you lied, I said. A while line, but yes, sorry, she said, trying to smile, but when I didn't smile back, she turned around in her seat and faced forward. What is a lamb to slaughter? I said. Mom sighed and gave Daddy a look. I shouldn't have said that, Dad said, looking at me in the rear view mirror. It's not true. Here's the thing. Mommy and I love you so much. We want to protect you any way we can. It's just sometimes we want to do it in different ways. I don't want to go to school, I answered, folding my arms. It would be good for you, Augie, said Mom. Maybe I will go next year, I answered, looking out the window. This year would be better, Augie, said Mom. You know why? Because you will be going to 5th grade, and that's the first year of middle school for everyone. You won't be the only new kid. I will be the only kid who looks like me, I said. I'm not going to say it won't be a big challenge for you, because you know better than that, she answered. But it will be good for you, Augie. You will make lots of friends, and you will learn things you would never learn with me. She turned in her seat again and looked at me. When we took the tour, you know what they had in their science lab? A little baby chick that was just hatching out of its egg. It was so cute. Augie, it actually kind of reminded me of you when you were a little baby, with those big brown eyes of yours. I usually love when they talk about when I was a baby. Sometimes I want to curl up into a little tiny ball and let them hug me and kiss me all over. I miss being a baby, not knowing stuff. But I wasn't in the mood for that now. I don't want to go, I said. How about this? Can you at least meet Mr. Touchman before making up your mind? Mom asked. Mr. Touchman, I said. He's the principal, answered Mom. Mr. Touchman, I repeated. You know right. Dad answered, smiling and looking at me in the rear view mirror. Can you believe that name, Augie? I mean, who on earth would ever agree to have a name like Mr. Touchman? I smiled even though I didn't want to let them see me smile. Dad was the one person in the world who could make me laugh no matter how much I didn't want to laugh. That always made everyone laugh. Augie, you should go to that school just so you can hear this name said over the loudspeaker. Dad said excitedly. Can you imagine how funny that would be? Hello, Handel. Patching Mr. Tushman. He was using a fake high old lady voice. Hi, Mr. Tushman. I see you were running a little behind today. Did your car get real again? What a bum rap. I started laughing, not even because I thought he was being that funny, but because I wasn't in the mood to stay mad anymore. It could be worse, though. Dad continued in his normal voice. Mommy and I had a professor in college called Mrs. Budd. Mom was laughing now too. That's for real, I said. Roberta Budd. Mom answered, raising her hands as if to swear. Bobby Budd. She had huge cheeks, said Dad. Nate, said Mom. What? She had big cheeks, is all I'm saying. Mom laughed and shook her head at the same time. Hey, I know, said Dad excitedly. Let's pick them up on a blind date. Can you imagine? Mr. Budd met Missy Budd met Mr. Tushman. Mr. Tushman here is Missy Budd. They could get married and have a bunch of little tussies. Poor Mr. Tushman, answered Mom, shaking her head. Augie hadn't ever met the man yet. Nate, who is Mr. Tushman? Via said growlily. She had just woken up. He's the principal of my new school, I answered.
Chapter 6. Bucking Mr. Tushman. I would have been more nervous about meeting Mr. Tushman if I had known I was also going to be meeting some kids from the new school. But I didn't know, so if anything, I was kind of giggly. I couldn't stop thinking about all the jokes that he had made about Mr. Tushman's name. So when me and Mom arrived at Becher Prep a few weeks before the start of school, and I saw Mr. Tushman standing there waiting for us at the entrance, I started giggling right away. He didn't look at all like what I pictured, though. I guess I thought he would have a huge butt, but he didn't. In fact, he was a pretty normal guy. Tall and thin, but not really old. He seemed nice. He shook my mom's hand first. Hi, Mr. Tushman. It's so nice to see you again, said Mom. This is my son, August. Mr. Tushman looked right at me and smiled and nodded. He put his hand out for me to shake. Hi, August, he said, totally normally. It's a pleasure to meet you. Hi, I'm Mahmoud, dropping my hand into his hand while I looked down at his feet. He was wearing red Adidas. So, he said, kneeling down in front of me so I couldn't look at his knicker, but had to look at his face. Your mom and dad have told me a lot about you. Like what have they told you? I asked. Sorry, honey, you have to speak up, said Mom. Like what? I asked, try not to mumble. I admit I have a bad habit of mumbling. Well, that you like to read, said Mr. Tushman, and that you are a great artist. He had blue eyes with white eyelashes. And you are into science, right? I said, nodding. We have a couple of great science electives at Becher, he said. Maybe you take one of them? I said. Thought I had no idea what an elective was. So, are you ready to take a tour? You mean we are doing that now? I said. Did you think we were going to the movies? He answered, smiling as he stood up. You didn't tell me we were taking a tour, I said to Mom in my accusing voice. Are we? He started to say. It will be fine, August, said Mr. Tushman, holding his hand out to me, I promise. I think he wanted me to take his hand, but I took Mom's instead. He smiled and started walking towards the entrance. Mommy gave my hand a little squeeze, though I don't know if it was an I love you squeeze or an I'm sorry squeeze, probably a little of both. The only school I had ever been inside before was Via's. When I went with mom and dad to watch Via sing in spring concert and stuff like that, the school was very different. It was smaller. It smelled like a hospital.
Chapter 7. Nice Miss Garcia. We followed Mr. Tushman down a few hallways. There weren't a lot of people around, and the few people who were there, they didn't seem to notice me at all, though that may have been because they didn't see me. I sort of hid behind Mom as I walked. I know that sounds kind of babyish of me, but I wasn't feeling very brave right then. We ended up in a small room with the words "Office of a Middle School Director" on the door. Inside, there was a with a nice-seeming lady sitting behind it. "This is Miss Garcia," said Mr. Tushman, and the lady smiled at Mom and took off her glasses and got up out of her chair. My mom shook her hand and said, "Isabel Pullman, nice to meet you." "And this is August," Mr. Tushman said. Mom kind of stepped to the side a bit, so I would move forward. Then that thing happened that I've seen happen a million times before. When I looked up at her, Miss Garcia's eyes dropped for a second. It was so fast that no one else would have noticed, since the rest of her face stayed exactly the same. She was smiling a really shiny smile. "Such a pleasure to see you, August," she said, holding out a hand for me to shake. "Hi," I said quietly, giving her my hand, but I didn't want to look at her face, so I kept staring at her glasses, which hung from a chain around her neck. "Wow, what a film grip," said Miss Garcia. Her hand was really warm. "The kids got a killer handshake," Mr. Tushman agreed, and everyone laughed above my head. "You can call me Miss G," Miss Garcia said. I think she was talking to me, but I was looking at all the stuff on her desk now. That's what everyone calls me. "Miss G, I forgot my combination. Miss G, I need a late bath. Miss G, I want to change my elective. Miss G actually the one who runs the place," said Mr. Tushman, which again made all the grown-ups laugh. "I'm here every morning by 7:30, Miss Garcia continued, still looking at me while I stared at her brown sandals with small purple flowers on the buckles. "So if you ever need anything, August, I'm the one to ask, and you can ask me everything." "Okay," I mumbled. "Oh, look at that cute baby," Mom said, pointing to one of the photographs on Miss Garcia's bulletin board. "Is he yours?" "No, my goodness," said Miss Garcia, smiling a big smile now that was totally different from her shiny smile. "You've just made my day. He's my grandson." "What a cutie," says Mom, shaking her head. "How old?" "In that picture he's worth 5 months, I think, but he's big now, almost 8 years old." "Wow," said Mom, nodding and smiling. "Well, he is absolutely beautiful." "Thank you," said Miss Garcia, nodding like she was about to say something else about her grandson, but then all of a sudden her smile got a little smaller. "We are all going to take very good care of all."
Hi guys, my name is Ling and I'm from class 10 English. Now I would like to reading my chapter. It is the chapter 9, The Grand Tour. Jack, Will, Julian, Charlotte and I went down a big hallway to some wide stairs. No one said a word as we walked up to the 3rd floor. When we got to the top of the stairs, we went down a little hallway full of lots of doors. Julian opened the door marked 301. "This is our homeroom," he said, standing in front of the half-open door. "We have Mrs. Pentosa. They say she's okay, at least for homeroom. I heard she's really strict if you get her for math." though. That's not true, said Charlotte. My sister had her last year and said she's totally nice. Not what I heard, answered Julian, but whatever. He closed the door and continued walking down the hallway. This is the science lab, he said when he got to the next door. And just like he did 2 seconds ago, he stood in front of the half-open door and started talking. He didn't look at me once while he talked, which was okay because I wasn't looking at him either. You won't know who you have for science until the first day at school, but you want to get Mr. Holler. He used to be in the lower school. He would play this giant tuba in class. It was a baritone horn, said Charlotte. It was a tuba, answered Julian, closing the door. Dude, let him go inside so he can check it out. Jack will told him, pushing past Julian and opening the door. Go inside if you want, Julian said. It was the first time he looked at me. I shrugged and walked over to the door. Julian moved out the way quickly, like he was afraid I might accidentally touch him as I passed by him. Nothing much to see, Julian said, walking in after me. He started pointing to a bunch of stuff around the room. That's the incubator. That big black thing is a chalkboard. These are the desks. These are chairs. Those are the Bunsen burners. This is a gross science poster. That is chalk. That is the eraser. I'm sure he knows what an eraser is, Charlotte said, sounding a little like Via. How would I know what he knows? Julian answered. Mr. Tasman said he's never been to school before. You know what an eraser is, right? Charlotte asked me. I'd admit I was feeling so nervous that I didn't know what to say or do except look at the floor. Hey, can you talk? Answered Jack Will. Asked Jack Will. Yeah, I nodded. I still really hadn't looked at any of them yet, not directly. You know what an eraser is, right? Asked Jack Will. Of course, I mumbled. I told you there was nothing to see in here, said Julian, shocking. I have a question, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. What exactly is homeroom? Is that like a subject? No, that's just your group, explained Charlotte, ignoring Julian's mug. It's like where you go when you get to school in the morning and your homeroom teacher takes attendance and stuff like that. In a way, it's your main class even though it is not really a class. I mean, it's a class, but I think he gets it. Charlotte, said Jack Will. Did you get it? Charlotte asked me. Yeah, I nodded at her. Okay, let's get up here, said Jack Will, walking away. Wait, Jack, we are supposed to be answering questions, said Charlotte. Jack Will rolled his eyes a little as he turned around. Do you have any more questions? He asked. No, I answered. Oh, well, actually, yes. Is your name Jack or Jack Will? Jack is my first name. Will is my last name. Oh, because Mr. Tashman introduced you as Jack Will. So I thought, you thought his name was Jack Will, laughed Julian. Yeah, some people call me by my first and last name, Jack said, shrugging. I don't know why. Anyway, can we go now? Let's go to the performance space next, said Charlotte, leading the way out of the science room. It's very cold. You will like it. August. Thanks for listening.